Hello and welcome to the Chilled Cardano podcast. I am Eric and this is Mike. We have a special guest today. His name is Tom. You may know him as Bud.Eth on Twitter. How's it going, Tom?
What's up, guys? How are you? Thanks for having me on here. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Tom. So, why don't you just tell us about like how you got into crypto? Like, what did you see that was like that like got you enticed by that, like the vision, or when it first clicked for you?
Yeah, for sure. So I own my own business, and I have a couple brick and mortar stores. And one of my employees told me that he actually made more money in crypto than I paid him. And I was like, all right, like I did take it as an insult because it's like I paid him what I could, that's all I could do. But I was like, so what's up with this crypto stuff though? And this was in March or April of 2017. So now once he started talking, I didn't he said crypto and I didn't know what he meant. And then he said Bitcoin. And I was like, oh, Bitcoin. Now I had first heard about Bitcoin in 2014. And somebody told me to buy it. Like everybody has that story. Somebody told you to buy it, and I didn't buy it. And I actually made a wallet, and I started accepting it at my business. Like, hey, if you want to pay in Bitcoin, you can. Nobody ever did, and I never bought any, at that time. But in 2017, I was like, you know what, I'm going to get into it. So I started buying Bitcoin and Ethereum then, and I went pretty hard through 2017, and then when the crash in like the end of 2017 2018 happened, I didn't do anything. I didn't sell anything. I kind of just bought a little bit more, and then that's it. I just held on, and I didn't do anything through most of 2018 and 2019. I just held on to everything.
So like, did you see the potential in it, or like what made you feel like you needed to hang on to it, or like because I see a lot of people, like when that happens to them, like they're just like meant to, like, you know what, I'm out, like let me sell everything, I'm done with this is a scam. But like, what made you feel like, you know what, I'm just gonna hang on to this stuff? Like, let's see a play. Like, what was going through your mind during that time period?
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, I'm definitely a big fan of that statement, like history repeats itself, or history is just whatever the hell the statement is. I say I'm a fan of it, and I don't even know the statement, but you know the idea. And it's like every single civilization that's been around, it had fiat money. Like it went the way that we're going now, which is it printed itself out of having any worth. And it's like the writing's on the wall here. I'm surprised that the BS story has gone on as long as it has been, as far as the dollar goes. You know what I mean? But I just would like some kind of hedge against it, and it just made sense. I like things that are based on math. I'm a numbers guy, and I realized right from the get-go, once I understood it, not that I fully understand it, but I kind of understand it to the point of like, I understand that you can't mess with it. It is what it is. This is how many are going to be produced. You can look forward to this date in the future and tell you, and you can see exactly how many Bitcoin it could be out that day, how many could be mined that day, how much the next box is going to be worth as far as Bitcoin, like how many are going to be mined in it. Like you can see everything. Right. And it's like that's you can't say that about anything else, even Ether. Like I love Ether, but like, it's not a currency, and I'm not even saying that Bitcoin is definitely a currency, but the idea behind it is so amazing and beautiful. It's just, I think that it was made at a time technologically, like kind of like computer speaking, like compared to now, it's like we're so far ahead of it computer wise. It's like it needs to be faster. It's never going to have that the transaction speed or whatever that it needs to be to really be competitive, which is where, and I love Charles Hoskinson, how he took it down. It's like, all right, well, if you take one step further with it and explore how that could be used. And seems like that's what kind of Cardano is. It's the general idea that Satoshi had, but it's really modernized so it can work. The scalability factor, if I understand 100%. It right, which I very well may not, but I'm pretty sure that's where
that was pretty.
Charles,
I definitely feel like that was pretty spot on. I definitely have, at least I have that same philosophy and like theory on everything. Sorry, Eric, were you gonna say something?
No, I was just agreeing. So like, what got you into the NFT world specifically after you were kind of in the crypto game for a bit?
I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what the I don't know what maybe it was like a news story that I heard because we heard about crypto kitties or whatever in like the end of maybe like early 2018 or sometimes in 2018. I feel like I
Yeah.
remember hearing about crypto kitties because if I remember correctly, they were destroying gas fees, and it was like, first of all, who's even doing anything right now? Because like, what's worth whatever, what I mean? But
Right.
they were really driving up gas fees big time because of the usage, and I was like, all right, so what exactly are these things? And I didn't understand them at all. But then I think what happened after that was some CryptoPunk sales started going through, and it's like I heard about like like a $15,000 CryptoPunk, and I'm like, what the heck is a CryptoPunk? Like, what is it? Like a friend? Like, what are you talking about? Like somebody that comes and hangs out with you? Like, what's a CryptoPunk? I didn't understand it at all, and I finally got what it was, and I'm like, oh, this is really in the same sense that Bitcoin is kind of like unmesswithable. I have another word. Do you curse on here or no?
Yeah, no curse. Yeah.
Unfuckable. That's it. Yeah, I didn't know if you did it or not. So I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
that's
no
it.
worries.
It's unfuckable. And NFTs are the same way when they're really, they're unfuckable. Like that's it. It's proved digital ownership. This is mine. Here's the receipt for it. Here's the whole entire life story of it, and here it is. And it's the monkey pics are cool, but I definitely think it's just the tip of the iceberg. It's essentially a bunch of people that grew up playing like Legend of Zelda and stuff like that, and Super Mario.
Yeah.
And now we have technology. It's like, the first thing we're gonna do is weird pictures. Like that's kind of what we know. Like fun stuff like that. Like I'm not surprised it is where it is, but I definitely think it's got a bright future. And one of the things I lucked out on early on was Bud.Eth. Like somebody had a .eth, and I was like, what the heck is that? And I started searching up names, and I couldn't get anything, and I got Bud, and I'm like, yeah, I'll take Bud, sure. And I just kind of like shrugged it off like no big deal. And now I'm like, yo, man, I got Bud.Eth. This is pretty cool, like going forward.
Yeah, so, I'm sure a lot of people want that.
Name. It's
so did you grab more ENSs after that, those domains, or were you just one and done? Did you like how did you were you like, holy shit, like these are gonna be like pretty like worth something one day?
I didn't then. Now I have gotten a lot more lately, but I didn't then. I grabbed a couple more then, but nothing really of any value or anything. I wish I would have kind of thought about it a lot more. And I think that ENS addresses that are like speakable, like something where it's like, hey, send it to, whatever it is, I think will be the easiest thing. Like send it to Joe's Pizza.eth is a lot easier.
Right.
I think a lot of people now are starting to register like ones that have numbers in them, like, 1974.eth or 1982.eth or 1985, which is cool, but they're definitely gonna have a lot of uses going forward. I think I mean, everything with this is just so tip of the iceberg. It's like it's gonna be so amazing.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know how old you guys are, but I was fortunate enough to kind of like be around in the birth of the internet, where it was like went from like a 14.4 modem. Oh, okay. So 14.4 modem, like a 28 to like a 56K, and like, and then cable modem came out. It was like, I was like, I might as well throw away my hockey equipment at that point.
Exactly.
I never went outside anymore. That was the end of it.
It's game over. It's game over, man.
It. Yeah. So and then, we were really fortunate then. We didn't realize it at the time, at least I didn't, that we had a free internet in a lot of ways, where it was like it was like the Wild West, do what you want. And a lot of ways right now, I think crypto's almost at like the golden cross of like technology and not too much regulation. Whereas like, before, like there wasn't any regulation, but a lot of the tech wasn't there. And now that the tech is starting to get there, the regulation's starting to come in, and it kind of just, so we're at an amazing point right now, I think, in crypto. And I'm not even saying that regulation is bad, but it's going to be different than it is now for sure. I think the days of just, let me just make another MetaMask wallet and just write down these words, and then that's the end of it. Like, I don't know how long that's going to go on for,
For sure. Yeah. I hope you're wrong, just because
I hope I'm wrong too.
Because like the amount of like iterative like innovation going on right now is insane, and I don't want it to slow down, And I think if something like that happens, like you're going to get a lot of developers who are automatically going to start going to get like lawyers and shit like that, instead of just focusing on creating something new that excites people, that's not here yet.
Yeah. I definitely I definitely wouldn't mind being wrong there. For sure.
It kind of
It's,
feels like a blessing and a curse, like with like JP Morgan and stuff, and like banks getting involved in like certain parts of crypto, and it's like you want their like money, but you don't want like their philosophy getting so involved,
yeah,
but I
yeah.
guess it's part of the golden cross like you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like when they're like at a wedding and like, you see somebody walk in and you're like, this fucking guy, like, hey man, good to see you. Move over, asshole. It's like,
Yeah, sit over there.
yeah, sit over there. It's good to hear. You don't have to leave, but just, stay over there.
Just don't talk to me specifically.
Yeah. It's, I mean, that's been the craziest thing though, is that how, and I guess I kind of understand it, but how definitive they were, definitively against anything crypto they were from the get-go, only until just about the last, like, I don't know, 6 or 12 months that they really started to kind of be like, oh, this is actually real deal. And I guess it's, that having like a $3 trillion market cap across all crypto is that, it's a lot of money. It can't just disappear. It can't just stop and go away. So it's almost like that too big to fail thing. And I guess they kind of had to get on board at some point. It's so initially they were just so anti-crypto, anti-everything, and it was just so off-putting. And I think that it's upsetting too, because it really, I think, deterred a lot of people from getting into the space when maybe they would have, even if they would have put in 500 or $1,000 or whatever it is, they would have seen that money grow and then potentially put in more and then got in whatever. And then, but
it's a different mindset for sure, right? Like when you're in this space and you start to invest in like different JPEGs and shit, and it's like, for some reason I'm okay with like spending a lot of money on this stuff, but then it's like in fiat world it's like a totally different mentality, like, I don't know, or do you feel differently?
No, I feel exactly the same. It's I bought something the other night for 0.7 ETH or whatever it is. And like, I just bought it because I was going back and forth with the guy who created the project, and he was telling me about something in the future. And I'm like, all right, I kind of feel good about that. I'm like, all right, I'll jump on board. And then I'm like lying down in bed and I'm like, oh, man, it's like a lot of money, And
You're
it's
like,
all good. Like, let's try it. Let's see what happens. And it's like, you would never go to a casino and be like, let's try it. Let's see what happens. And just put it down on a number or a color, like, it's crazy. But I do think so. Going into that casino thing, and speaking of Cardano, and this is something that I have said a couple times. I don't know if you've ever heard me bitch about it, but
no, tell us.
The way that, and this isn't a knock on Cardano at all, or the what are they called? Exchanges or anything like that. So when you buy something, I bought something, that thing I was just telling you about for 0.72 ETH, I think it was. So I was like, that's like $2,200. Like, if that said $2,200, I don't know that I would have just been like so nonchalant about buying. You know what I mean? But since it said 0.7 ETH, it's like, okay, it's 0.7. Like, that's not bad. As the price of Cardano NFTs go up, the pricing of them looks really freaking bad as far as looking at it. Because then it's like, oh wow, so like the the space buds, they kind of hit a wall around $6,000. You don't really see too many sales above $6,000. It's kind of where, I mean, you see sales above it, but that's kind of where they kind of topped out as far as the floor goes. So it says on there 6,000 ADA. I'm wondering if it said 6.0K ADA, would the sales look different? Instead of it saying 600, it says 6K ADA. So it's priced in thousands. So it would be priced in ADA up until 1,000, and then after 1,000, it's priced in K. It may sound weird, but it's the same poker chip mentality where it takes away from the idea of all those zeros and all that money. It's like, this isn't real money. That's 4.2K ADA. That's not 4,200.
Right.
It's like too similar to the dollar. Like, you can do the math a little bit better. And when you see like 7 ETH, you're like, oh, I mean, that's a lot, but you don't really do the math in your head, right? You're like, but with ADA, you're like, oh, 70,000 ADA. That seems like way too much.
Yeah. So I do think
I get what you're
would help a little bit. But it has been interesting to see all the ADA. So were you guys around? You guys use JPEG Store primarily now for like Cardano NFTs?
Yeah.
Were you around for like the CNFT days? in the beginning?
That I was tried to sign up for it, and then I had to use my email, and it just totally turned me out because I'm like, this isn't what I came here for. Like, I kind of
Yeah.
wanted, like something to connect my wallet and it'd be a smooth transition. I didn't have to
Yeah.
trust a third party in a sense. So when I saw JPEG, it was like a lot easier for me to start to play around with, and
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, when I first started buying Cardano NFTs last year, it was only CNFT, and it was like,
Yeah.
you know, they had to send them to you, and it was like if they didn't send it to you, it was like they were out. So you would see all these projects as the floor is rising, and it's like the floor is going from like 130, 140, 150, and you're like, oh man, I'm trying to buy this, and you're trying to buy them. People aren't
Yeah.
sending them because they see the floor rising so quickly. Initially, there was
that
no
sucks.
penalty. Oh, it sucked because I ended up buying like Kongs. I went really hard on Kongs. I kind of knew they were going to be good, and I on CNFT
Nice.
tools I bought about 100.
Nice.
Only 51 got sent to me. So
Oh my God.
So the other 49 didn't get sent to me. So, and the only reason those 51 did get sent to me is because I realized what was happening. They weren't coming, and I started buying above the floor. So it's like I used to have to go, you know, and then, which whatever is what it is, I still did okay on it because I ended up getting, you know, now they're trading at like 1,500 or whatever it is, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But
What were they
that was
going for then?
I think when I started, they were around like 130, 140. And then I think the last one I bought was around like 300, maybe 320 ish.
So you got in CNFTs pretty early. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Did you see like the potential of them, or were you like, how did you get into that?
So I got to tell you, there's a couple NFT Ethereum websites that you can kind of go on and connect your wallet to, and see what your gas fees were, and see what you spent or whatever. Like fees.wtf is one of them. You can connect your Ethereum wallet to your gas fees, and I invite you to all maybe have a drink or two and then do that, because it's pretty nauseating when you see how much money you spent on gas. So when I realized how Ethereum, it's awful. It's awful. However, it did come in handy around tax time, because those gas fees are tax deductible, so you can write them off.
Nice.
So it's like, you know, it's a little bit of saving grace, I guess. It's like, you know, making some you know, lemonade out of lemons, I guess. But
right, yeah.
But I realized that the same people that lived in the Ethereum NFT world could easily live in the Cardano NFT world. And the fact that there's no gas fees, what I used to spend on gas for one transaction, I could buy 2 or 3 Cardano NFTs for. So it's like, it's a no-brainer almost to kind of like, and you know, some of the people put projects up at like 30, 40 ADA, which is like, you know, all right, I'll buy like 2 or 3 of them, and if it doubles, I'll sell one and then hold on to the other 2, and like I'm in good shape, you know. And
so is that your mentality? Like, how did you start to create up like a strategy? Like when you obviously started with ETH NFTs, like you, what was your mentality when you started to be like, okay, I'm gonna start to put like real money into this, and like it's like gonna like start to make profit for me? Like, what did like, because it's fucking nuts, dude, to like think of like Eric and I, just like be totally transparent. We just started getting into NFTs like the last 3 or 4 weeks, to be totally honest with you.
Oh, dope.
So we're just like, we were more DeFi people, you know, and playing around with that shit. And so like now we're starting to get it with like just like all the different communities and the Discords and trying to figure all that shit out. But like, I mean, obviously you have been doing this for quite some time. And so it's just kind of interesting to see like how did you create a philosophy for yourself to be like, oh, this is how I'm going to do this, you know?
Hours and hours on fucking Twitter, honestly scrolling around and just like it's crazy, because like you said, man, it doesn't make any fucking sense, and it doesn't. Like I had a phone call with my accountant last week, and he was like, I don't get it, and I'm like, just fucking file the report, okay? Like,
yes,
because like
I did the same thing just happened with mine too. She's like, the numbers look okay. I don't know how to read most of this, so I'm just gonna turn it in.
Perfect. Yeah, I used Coin Tracker. I don't know if you guys
as
a thing,
same.
and it saved me hours of work. Like I can't say enough good things about him. Like I think when I first signed up, it was like $250 or whatever it was. Money well spent, because even now, every time I do a transaction, I get like an email like, hey, we saw this and this, and you know. So now at the end of the year, I know I'll have a report that I could just fucking hand over.
Yeah.
But I don't really know, man. I don't really know what the one thing that kind of get me going. I think that a lot of it was the crypto punks.
Yeah.
But so I came
What
into
spoke
it
to, like,
with,
are you like looking at pure numbers, or like is there an element to the artwork at all for you? Like, because you obviously you've been picking some really good projects to be a part of, like, you know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah,
I mean,
I've
like,
got pretty lucky.
unless you're trying to hang on to your alpha and not
No,
trying to tell
not at
people
all,
about
man.
it.
Not at all. Yeah, I'd say for every, and this is the unfortunate, going back to the gas fees, the unfortunate part about Ethereum, which is like, I'd say for every 10 projects that I buy, like if, in all honesty, for every 10 projects that I buy, 7 or 8 of them, I would be embarrassed to talk to you about. You know what I mean? Because like, because they just don't go anywhere, and it's like, what happened? What happened? And it's
Right.
so crazy how fast it happens, and it happens one way or the other one. And then staying on the gas fees, what happens with especially Ethereum NFTs is this. So you buy it at 0.1, right? So you buy it came out at 0.05 or whatever, and you buy it at 0.1. And then 2 weeks later, it's trading at 0.015. And you're like, Jesus, man, I lost all my money. It's not even sellable. Now it's getting a little bit better now, but for the most part, for a while, it wasn't even sellable because the gas fees on Ethereum were higher than so it's like, I'm gonna spend $40 in gas to buy a $19 NFT. That sucks. You know, so it's like people weren't, you know, and that's when you queue Cardano NFTs, and it's like, man, even if this Cardano NFT does suck, I'm only spending $19.85 on it rather than $38, you know?
Yeah.
So that was, you know, 7 out of 10 of those NFTs go that way. The other 3, 2 of them are like, okay, this is kind of treading water for a little bit, and then slowly over time it does gain some value. And then one of them is like, holy shit, this is amazing. Why are people paying this much money for a picture? You know, like it's unbelievable. It really is. The ape, I didn't mint my ape. I got my ape in June of last year. So I bought my ape for 1 ETH. I got it for, because it was total score. But I just looking around on Twitter, just all these people on Twitter that seem to have a lot of followers and seem to, you know, everybody seemed to really listen to what they were saying. That was it. I kind of was like, I'm going to get one of these apes, and I actually bought 4 of them. And this is when I was first into NFTs. I first got into them in like maybe March, but I wasn't really heavy at all. I almost got into them in March and then stopped in like April and May, and then started back up again in June. It was very early on in my NFT MetaMask OpenSea career, you know, and I bought 4 apes, and one of them is the ape that I still have, and the other 3 were fake that I way overpaid for. And because I overpaid for them, I didn't have any more ETH to buy other apes that were real. So
wow,
yeah, and now obviously looking back, it's like I wish I could slap myself in the face, like, no, stop, don't, you know, which goes to the thing. The only time, and this is God's honest truth, the only time I've really lost money in like crypto and NFTs is when I'm rushing something. Like when I'm in like some sort of like frantic thing, it's like I gotta like stop myself, which I've been better at lately. But it's like that's the only time I ever mess something up or do a stupid trade or whatever it is, where it's like, why did I do that? And I actually did it last week or a week and a half ago. The alpha about the Bored Ape, the lands, you know, the other side coming out. So I have my ape, I have a dog, and I had an M1 and an M2 serum. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna drink my serums because I want to cash in on my ape and I want to get this land, because we don't know, but we think that if you have a mutant, you're going to get some land dropped to you. This is all like hopefully, you know?
Speculation.
Well, that's how you have to play it, right? You have to just like, it's all game theory, right? Because you're trying to always like be one step ahead. So you're like, because if you hit, dude, it's fucking game changing. You know what I mean? So it's like, like if you have that feeling in your stomach, you kind of just got to ride it, right? Like,
Yeah,
because
but
you're never wrong when that shit happens.
What?
So it's like,
so
go ahead.
here's
It's
the
one
bud,
time.
dude. This bud, the bud's bad. So I drank the M1 and the M2, which is awesome. I have my mutants; they're beautiful. I love them. But now the M2 serums are trading for like 70 ETH. They went up by 20. They went up by 25 ETH in value. So I'm like, holy shit! I could have sold that and bought 2 mutants, and now instead of had but then I would not have had a matching set, which in the future does it matter? I don't know. Some people might think it matters. Some people might.
We'll see.
I don't know. It's monkey picks. It might not mean anything. You know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah,
right, yeah.
It's but I have been trying to really slow myself down. And once I mean that I did sleep on that. I did make that decision early in the morning to do it. So it's not like I was like frantic when I did it. But you know.
Do you find it hard to like sell, like when you have something that you bought for like super cheap and you're like, oh man, it's worth so much, but I don't need the money.
Seller's curse, man. Seller's curse. So do you guys have OpenSea accounts or no? Do you only mess with Cardano stuff?
We only mess with Cardano.
All right. So with OpenSea, you don't have to, but you can connect an email to it so that when you get an offer, you get an email. Hey, what's up? Joe Schmo wants to buy your NFT. So last year when I first got into crypto and then when I first got into NFTs, the crypto punks, like I said, were kind of what drew me in. But I was like, there's no way I'm paying 9 ETH for a crypto punk. You know, that's crazy. Now looking back, I wish I would have bought 10 of them. You know.
Yeah.
But
100%.
I bought these things called what are they called? Crypto skulls. So I bought them because they like look very similar to crypto punks in the sense of like it's just very simple art that like looks like, you know, a 3-year-old did or maybe a 5-year-old did. You'd be like, oh wow, that's great. You know, it's like now they're worth whatever. But I bought those for like 0.04, 0.05, whatever. Bought them. I bought I think 3 or 4 of them. That was it. And I forgot I freaking had them. I wake up maybe 2 months ago with a flood of emails in my inbox of 4 and 5 ETH offers on these things that I freaking forgot I had. So when I got those emails, I right away was like, bloop, sold, bloop, sold. Like I got rid of 2 of them immediately because it was like,
nice.
For that kind of thing, I had no problem cashing in and selling those, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
I definitely tell people that are getting into like any sort of NFT project, if you can swing it, always get at least 2. 3 is really the golden number, but always at least 2 because otherwise I'm not saying it's a curse, but you know, how do you sit? You only have 1 and you feel like it's going to be a long-term hold of value. So how do you sell it?
That's how I feel too.
I had my 8%.
Yeah, every time I mint, I've been doing at least 2. Good. Just because I kind of want to hang on to one and then like you said, like I want to be in a position where it's like if these things do go up a lot and I want to take some value off of the table, you know, I'll just sell one and then it gets weird, right? Because then if it gets higher, then it's like, well, I only have 1 now, so I should buy 2.
Yeah,
that's how I felt with the Claymates. Like I bought one and I was like, man, that's kind of pricey. And I'm like, but I only have 1 now. Like I'm not just gonna sell it. So I had to buy another one like to sell in the future. So it's just like, you never want to like leave that money on the table. So it's hard to just have 1.
It's a curse, man. It's the seller's curse. My buddy was a stockbroker for a while. And now I talk crypto with him all the time. And he does a lot more coin trading than he does with NFTs. But
he'll get here. He'll get here, right?
I'll figure it out. I sent them a Zed racehorse. I sent them another NFT. I'm like, come on, dude. Like, it's, you know, come on in. The water's warm. It just won't happen, you know?
Wow.
It's the Claymates are awesome though. I kind of got to that project really early. I think I had like 6 or 7 at one point because I bought them. They were like 150 or 200 Cardano. Like they were ADA. They were very low.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome.
I actually hung out with the girls too. The girls that started the project. They had they're so awesome too. It was either the beginning of this year or the end of last year in New York City. They had like a little meet and greet thing, and I hung out with them and like 20 other NFT people. It was really cool.
That's dope.
Yeah. It's been pretty amazing to watch their project kind of grow into what it is and really like,
Snoop Dogg, it's crazy.
Yeah, Snoop Dogg first was I can't think of it right now.
Good Charlotte.
Yeah, thank you. First was Good Charlotte, and then
Mike's favorite
Snoop
band.
now. Yeah, it's pretty awesome, dude.
Yeah, it is badass. I think it is cool. Like, it's just weird, like the people that start to pop up in this world. It's like, holy shit! Like, I haven't heard of these people in a while, but then like they come on, and then like they become like huge parts of the community. So it's like kind of fun to see. Like, that's also what drew me to like the NFT space. Is like the communities. Like everyone's really nice to each other, and I like appreciate that. Like the DeFi shit and like the trading. It's such like a shark mentality, and they always just shit on each other. And I just like you take it, but at the same time, it's like it's not like the most fun. Like you share like gifs with these people, and it's like everyone just like follow me, I'll follow you back, and like let's talk and let's chat. Like even like you, like this is badass. Like you just get to meet really interesting and cool people, and it's just I just like I'm so excited about the future of it too. It's just like it's inspiring for like I don't know for like just for the world. Like there's so much dark shit going on right now, like so it's just nice to have that.
It's nice to trade monkey pics once in a while.
Yeah, it's I think there's some aspect of the idea of like we all kind of realize this is a little bit, I want to say like dark alley type stuff because there's definitely getting more light shown on it as of late, but for the most part, it still is. If you're sitting at your Thanksgiving table for the holiday, like maybe you have like a cousin who also like has a Coinbase account and that's it. But like,
right.
You're still that outlier who's like, yeah, whatever, Jimmy. Like, we don't need your crypto stuff. Like
exactly.
And it's actually so 4 years ago, I think 4 years ago, I gave all my cousins and a couple of other members of my family $100 in Ethereum on a paper wallet.
Nice.
And I laminated it and I gave it to them, and I kept the copy for myself too because I knew they were gonna be suckers and lose it.
They were gonna lose
they
it.
They all did,
Nice.
of course, and they all did, and that's totally okay. But like it's so funny because now one by one they're like, "Hey, what was that Ethereum stuff you were telling me about? Like, do I still have that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, hang on a second, I'll call you this weekend." And
that's hilarious.
But I definitely have found it's the best way to get people on board is to give them a little bit of crypto, not even like a lot.
That's smart.
Like just like 10 or 20 bucks. And I was like, hey man, you see that 20 bucks I gave you? Now it's worth like 50. So you owe me like 30 bucks. Like I'll mess with them like that. Like, what are you talking about? But then they're like, wait, really? It's worth 50 bucks? And I'm like, yeah. Like, and I'm not saying it's gonna be worth 50 bucks forever. Like in 2 weeks, it might be worth 6. So, but I definitely think in the long term, this is the trend. The trend's going up. Like it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere for sure.
Yeah.
So the NFTs are going to be amazing to watch going forward, especially with Cardano stuff, especially as the scalability aspect of it comes into play. And
you get into the communities and stuff, and like a lot of them are starting to do like different ways to like keep people into the project. So like you're not just like flipping and minting and going to the next thing. Like what do you see in that? Like that has some stickiness to it. Like, do you think like token drops are going to be a thing? And like, what do you see?
Yeah, they're definitely the thing now. It's almost like, you guys said you came from like the DeFi world. I don't know how long you guys been in the crypto. I didn't even ask you. When did you guys get into it?
I've been in since 2018.
Okay.
I've only been in since last year, so I'm still learning.
All right. So yeah, 2018 was like the whole, a lot of DeFi stuff and a lot of like weird, coins and tokens that you never heard of, and you could go on Binance and just register an account like through an email, and it was like amazing. You know what I mean? It was very never gonna see that again, but that's how it was then.
Yeah. By the way, Mike was the guy in our family that was always like talking about crypto, and everyone's like, "Dude, shut up." And then he finally got me like last year.
He sucked him
in. Yeah, it's
Now I wish I got in sooner, of course.
Oh yeah, everybody does. For sure. It's I forget where I was going with that Binance comment.
I think we were talking about like the communities and like
sorry,
Discords and all that stuff.
And I then was like the kind of like the DeFi world, DeFi summer, like that's kind of what it was, going on, like, and now it's kind of like token summer where it's like, all right, you have this NFT and it's worth 10 grand USD, and also here's another 5 grand USD in tokens just for having it. Like, wait, what? I don't know. This can't be this. This can't is not sustainable. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of me that feels like this is not. It can't keep going on like this. Like, this party needs to keep going on, but not necessarily like this. It's getting a little bit too wild. Maybe we have to throw some of these characters out of here. You know what I mean? For the party gets a little out of control.
Right. Yeah. 100%.
You know. So I mean, I like the aspect of, hey, as an ape holder, I love the aspect of getting tokens. It sounds good to me, but you know, where does the money come from? How does it work? You know, there's got to be. I think to really have long-staying, sustainable power, sustainability. I think the aspect of having like get-togethers and big parties and that kind of things that are sponsored by the actual token, I do think that actually goes a long way as long as there's something like behind those parties, like the VCon, like Gary Vaynerchuk, like the stuff that he does.
Yeah.
I think is amazing because now it's like, if you look at how much a ticket is to VCon, his event, it's like, wow, it's a $20,000 ticket to your event. Whereas I went last year for $450 cash, you know, like, but that's what but that's what he built into the NFT itself. And I definitely think it's kind of helped sustain some of the value to it and definitely keep some of the people on board. Yeah, it is. And I think that going forward, there's going to be a lot more of that with NFTs where there's a lot more outside utility attached to them. But, you know, it's going to be amazing. It's so freaking cool. It really is. Even like the whole like Ape Fest that was last year. I didn't go, which is ironic because I only live like 90 minutes outside of Manhattan, but I couldn't get off of work, and it was my friend's birthday, and I couldn't make it. But this year I'm definitely gonna go. I can't wait. And it's like there's gonna be certain things that only ape holders can go to, and it's like I was thinking about it yesterday when I was going for a walk with my dogs. It's like, I'm going to go to some party where I'm going to walk in. It's going to be all these like 20 to 40-year-olds for the most part that are like, kind of like a lot of them are all millionaires and they're all degenerates that like, you know, I'm not saying live in their mom's basement, but like a lot of them probably do, which is totally okay. But like, they're just like, I trade crypto and just smoke weed and just, that's it, is what I do. And it's like, fucking all right, man. That's all right. You know, like I have no problem with that at all. It's just very it's very interesting that when you're gonna walk into a room and like that's what you're like. Imagine when you were a kid, you're like, all right, imagine in the future you're gonna walk into the millionaires club and you like you close your eye, you would imagine like some sort of like, you know, guys in tuxes and whatever else. Nah, we all got hoodies on and there's weed smoke everywhere, and it's not, you know.
There's like 16-year-olds that are like, hey man, I bought this when I was 12. Like, but I'm a millionaire now.
Yeah, all these people that mined all this early Ethereum and stuff. Like the first Ethereum I think I bought was like $48 or something like that. And like, wow, I wish I could just go back in time and just buy so much more, you know?
Yeah.
And then even like CryptoPunks, when they came out, like they were free. You just had to go to the website and say, I want 5 CryptoPunks. And then you got, and you just had to pay the gas on them, which at the time, nobody was on Ethereum. The gas was like $6. And then that's it. You just had all these CryptoPunks, which is it's crazy, you know. So you never know kind of what's going to happen down the road with value, you know. And you know, I got to think that aside from like the Louisiana Purchase or maybe like buying Alaska, that like buying a Bored Ape might be like minting a Bored Ape might be like one of the best investments of all time. Like it's incredible. Like some of these guys who minted like 10 or 15 of them. I don't know, man. I'd be shaking. Like, I don't even know. Do you hire security? You know what I mean? Like for your house? Like, I certainly would. You know, I mean, I like one of the things that a lot of, I mean, I think that one thing that's going to be really important going forward is having really safe multi-sig accounts set up in multi-sig, like almost like facilities where it's like I run a business that is a multi-sig business. Whereas if Eric wants to do a transaction, he contacts me, and at 1 p.m. we meet and we do, you know, whatever it is.
Right.
Or we don't meet, or we do it online, and you know, we never meet. However you set it up. But I think that's going to be something going forward as some of these people realize the value that they're holding in their drawer next to their bed.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you out of your mind? It's like, imagine that was cash, you know, like, because it essentially is. Once it's gone, it's gone. You can't go Vitalik and be like, hey, can you send this back real quick? You know?
Right.
So, it's going to be amazing going forward though, as more value comes to it and they figure out kind of bring more value to everything. Where it's like, I think even in the beginning, where it was like, I guess we kind of understood it initially with computers and .coms, where it was like, all right, so what can you do with the website? What's it going to be worth? Like, I guess we kind of saw the value in it right away, but that wasn't like really fully realized until, however many years later. It's still being fully realized now. I think
Well,
crypto
exactly.
and
Like
NFTs the same way.
there's still some people who don't believe in the internet. They're like some old people who are just like still reading the newspaper and they're like, I don't get it, And it's just nuts to think that like, all right, man, I can't save you, like if you can't believe in the internet, you're not gonna believe NFTs, like, or anything.
It's the devil's money.
Yeah. Exactly. Right.
Yeah, it's I definitely think that a lot of people do kind of make an error in not taking their small wins and stacking them and
Yeah.
don't always go for home runs. You know what I mean? Hit some singles, get on base, keep the people moving. Like that's how you really start to get up there. Buy 2 or 3 of them, like we were saying
Take
before.
chances.
Mint 2 or 3 of them, take some chances. And then if one of them you can flip it for what you paid for all 3, it's like now you're playing with house money now. It's like that's what you keep doing that and you're in good shape because now you'll have a portfolio of a couple hundred potentially NFTs, especially on Cardano network, because they're inexpensive to buy.
So you're a poker guy then?
What's that?
Sorry, Eric.
I was gonna say, hold on, I gotta go sell some NFTs. Make my money back.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
I totally lost my train of thought. No.
You said he's into poker?
Yeah. So do you think that did you say you're into poker? Or you started with doing poker and stuff?
No, I never played poker.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I must have misheard
No, it's
you.
all right. Yeah, it's I started with just Bitcoin, and when I first started with crypto, it was Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. That was the only 3 things that were on Coinbase, and then that was it.
Yep, same.
Did you ever do anything with stocks or anything?
What's that?
Did you ever do anything with stocks, or you just jumped right into crypto?
No, I bought some Sirius XM stock. I'm a big Opie and Anthony fan. I don't know if you guys have listened to him. I bought some Sirius XM stock a long time ago when it was real low, and I held on to that for a while. Made a couple bucks there, but nothing crazy. And then that was it, though. Nothing really else. So yeah,
so interesting. Same here. I wasn't a stock guy either, so it's kind of funny that this is the kind of place that speaks to you because it's it never made sense to me. It's it's closed on the weekends, it's closed on holidays, and I'm like, but the economy keeps going, so why are we doing this? This doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Meanwhile, that's part of the curse now. It's like I try to tell my wife all the time, babe, I'm like, this doesn't fucking end. I'm like, it doesn't close. I'm like, there's no break at all. So just like you said, to your point, the blessing is the curse at the same time,
That's true. That's very true.
But now so just like you, it never really was in the stock. So it's like, there's no going back now. It's like, you guys look at a 12% gain over the year and you're high-fiving each other. They go and get lobsters. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's a failure. I'd be so pissed off.
Yes.
You know what I mean? 100%. Unless it's a complete bear market and Bitcoin's at 15 grand. I don't want to hear that. Get out of my ear with that shit.
For sure.
Yeah.
Is there are there any CNFT projects that are newer that have caught your eye or anything lately?
Let me check it out right now just to see. Does it work? Wait a second. There we go. Just to kind of refresh my memory. You guys can still see me and everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can also pull up anything.
So I have bought a couple recently that I kind of really liked that I thought were kind of cool. Just anything that kind of caught my eye.
Do you want to throw them on the screen so we could let the audience see?
Dude, I'm so bad with this stuff, dude. I'm awful with this computer.
No worries.
You would think I'd be better with it, but if you want to click
I can
on
look them up
yours,
on my side.
Yeah. You know
Eric
what?
will pop it up on his screen.
Yeah, you know what? So the Ape Society, click on that one. I mean, that's kind of been around for a while, but so the Ape Society, when it first came out, I was like, what's up with these not bored apes? All right, whatever. So I bought 2 of them, and I'm like, all right, they're kind of cool. I held on to 2 of them. I think I bought them under 200, or maybe right around 200 is when I bought them. And I put one up for sale for like 350, and the other one I just intended to sell. And the second it sold a couple days later for 350, and the second it sold for 350, I screamed "fuck," and it went online, and I bought another one for like 410. So I just because I was like, "This is not. Why did you sell that, you idiot?" Like it just, and I'm sure that happens to you guys all the time. Where as soon as you sell, it's like, "No, no, no, no. I didn't actually really want to do that." And now, obviously, I'm
Right.
happy that I didn't. I still have the two.
Was your wife like, dude, why are you screaming right now?
Yeah, I try to. I've
Is
made
she
it.
used to it by now?
She's getting better. I'm getting better with it, and she's getting better with it. So it's a common understanding. It's good. I'm working towards it. It's
How did you? Is your wife on board, or is she like, I don't understand this? Like, don't talk to me about this. I'm bored of it. Or
So she thought it was just like, all right, fake money, man. Like, what are you talking about?
yeah.
But then we actually got married last year and went on a honeymoon
Oh,
last
congrats,
year.
man.
Thank you. And did I think or two around the house last year, and like the vast majority of it was paid for by crypto. So she was like,
Oh yeah.
all right, I guess this is real. So it's like, when you're walking on pavers, it kind of is pretty evident that it's real. You know what I mean?
Right.
The pavers are
100%.
Bitcoin, so
That's badass.
yeah, it's yeah, that ape collection that we were just talking about, that's one of the ones that I
Mhm.
like. And so the Claymates, the Clay Nation, and the whole land sale and the pictures and everything. So that's a whole nother like idea in itself, like the whole metaverse thing. And so as far as stuff
What
that
do you think about that? You think that's going to be a thing or going
I
forward?
do, but I think that it's going to be the same thing. All right. So are you guys fans of Alex Becker by chance?
I don't know who that is.
So he's
Not
a
familiar.
YouTuber. So you can look up Alex
Okay.
Becker. Right off the bat,
Have to
he's
check him out.
He's a prick, but he's
Okay.
he's a likable prick. You know what I mean? He's almost like a sarcastic Bill Murray type prick in some movies. You know what
All
I mean?
right.
Not calling you a prick, Bill Murray, if you're listening.
Hopefully,
Hey, you never know,
Shout out to Bill Murray.
Chicagoan.
Oh, please. So, but in the sense of he's a very good business person. I think he's done a lot of things with a lot of companies. And one of the things he's talked about is how much it takes to really design a video game, how many hours it takes, how much money it takes, how much time it takes. The time thing, being even if you have the resources with the staffing and the money, the time aspect is a whole nother thing where it's like you can't shorten that. I mean, you can a little bit, but not really. It just takes so much time to develop these.
Yeah.
So many projects now are saying, oh, we're gonna have a metaverse and have a land sale and have this and this. I almost look at it like a red flag. When a newer project is saying we're gonna have a land sale, we're gonna have a metaverse, we're gonna have this and this, and it's like you don't even have anything yet. What are you talking about? Now, when Clay Nation drops their idea for a land sale and everything, I felt much differently about it because they're an established project. They have a lot of backing. Like they are in my opinion, they are like the Cardano NFT project. In my opinion, I love them the most.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
for their land sale, Big Nation, I felt great about it. For new projects that are coming out, I almost look at it like a red flag, like I said. So, and the other red flag that's really noticeable is you'll see Discords that get set up, and they'll have like 50,000 members within like a week or two of getting set up, and it's like, what are you crazy? Like that's not how this works. Even if something was out of control, the best project ever coming up, it doesn't grow like that. It's just not how it happens.
So that's like a warning sign to you when they have that many Discord members?
That quickly. So, and you could also see by the activity in the room. So if they have 50,000 members, if you go in their general chat room, that thing should be flying. You know what I mean? It should be like your heart should be, I mean, if you type a comment, it should be gone in a second. If you go in a room and you type like that and it's the same 7 or 8 knuckleheads typing all the time, there's probably something going on. That's not really it, The first one I saw that happen with was a project called Mechaverse that was out on Ethereum like 6 months ago. And they boasted they had 250,000 Discord members. And I was like, what? Well, I don't know one person talking about this. What are you talking about? And the project, it's crazy. If you look at the chart on it, it started at 0. It went to like 19 pre-reveal. MEKAVERSE, Mechaverse. Oh, there it is, the top one. Breaks my heart. Was not involved in it at all.
Okay.
But yeah, it debuted. If you hit activity and then hit all time, it'll show what happened to it. Oh God, it breaks my heart. Look at this thing. So many people got burned.
Holy cow.
So yeah. So what happened was when the art came out, it was bad. It wasn't good at all. It was very, very cheap. It just was, they all look like that, except for like a very minor detail where it's like, oh yeah, I have a little blue little light in the middle. You have an orange little light in the middle. Like that was the only difference in them.
Wow.
So they went from like, people were paying 15, 16, 17 ETH for them. And then like hours later, they were trading at like 4 ETH, 5 ETH. Like people got so burned. I mean, there were plenty that sold for like almost like 50 and 75 ETH, like tons of money that just people that were coming into the space knew. And they saw this new project that had 250,000 Discord members. And they're like, oh my God, this has got to be the newest thing. And then the art comes out and it looks like something that, he made at summer camp when he was 9. So
wow.
so it's that is kind of like a red flag to me. Like if there's a lot of activity on Twitter and it's all new names and it's new people and new questions, and the same thing in Discord, new people, new names, new questions, and the chat is scrolling and moving, like that's a good sign,
What do you think about the staking mechanism in Cardano? You're seeing a lot of the newer NFT collections like Yummy Universe using staking their NFTs. What do you think about that? Do you think that's a good play, or have you not looked into it yet?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't know that Yummy Universe was doing that, and I think I have a couple of Yummies myself, so it's good to know.
Yeah, man.
It goes live next month.
Okay.
With the staking, and they have you can look up your Narus or whatever, and it'll tell you how much you'll get like a month. So
wow,
I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
because they've been around for a little bit too.
So there's this guy on Twitter, Kobe, COBIE. I think it's like a crypto.
Oh yeah, we know him.
Yeah. All right. So he did a write-up a couple days ago about staking, about the staking mechanism, and he didn't mention Ape. Oh, he did mention Ape Coin specifically, and he kind of talked about like staking and how it works, and like what is it, and like what is it supposed to be, and like how, so like you stake over Cardano, like when you actually stake your Cardano, like you're actually participating in the network and helping it be safer and more distributed, and it's the whole part of the whole thing. There actually is work that is done, whereas with this kind of stuff, it's like, what exactly are you staking? What is actually being done?
That's
like,
true.
Are you being rewarded just for not selling it and kind of holding it in this wallet? Like, is that what it is? So it's like, if so, how long is that sustainable? So like go back to before, like we were talking about. So then it's like, however, as somebody who holds a couple yummies, I kind of like the idea,
Yeah. I think the plan behind it for them is like, since you're staking it, you can't sell it because it's locked in a smart contract. Like that's their way of like pumping up the floor, in my opinion. But like they also say like, okay, you're gonna get these coins and we're gonna have a game, and you'll be able to use the coins in the game. So, but it's just like so ambitious, you'll never know if they'll be able to do it.
Yeah.
But
they look promising if like, if we're calling projects out too, I think their artwork's legit. Yeah, like their websites look legit. They don't look like they're cutting corners. So it's like the game might not come out for a couple of years, but if you're seeing like improvement, it's like, I'm not going to leave the project because it'll be one of those things that you'll look back and be like, oh my God, like they're worth so much now. And like,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not selling my yummies. I still have those. I would, I think they're in my, I think they're in my other wallet, my dataless wallet. And I didn't open it up yesterday, so we're not going to have time today to get it going.
Oh yeah, no, of course not.
In a week, it'll be
gonna take a hot minute.
Yeah. However, I mean, if you have to mint something, if you're ever in like if you really need to mint something quick, dataless is the way to go. It is like a tank as far as getting stuff done.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's
Yeah, because
definitely the
Nami
best
is
wallet to mint
like
from.
Nami always
Yeah,
takes forever, I feel like.
yeah, that's because it's getting punched out by Daedalus. So you just
Yeah.
have to make sure that you open it up the day before and kind of leave it open, and then you're good to
Yeah.
go.
Good tip.
Yeah, yeah. And I have my Daedalus linked to my ledger. So it's not like just on
Nice.
my computer or
Oh,
anything like
nice.
that. So it's like it's another little piece
Pretty safe.
of something, you know. Yeah, it's pretty safe.
Peace of mind.
Yeah. It's yeah, I definitely think it's kind of up only long term, up only for NFTs in general, and definitely for Cardano NFTs. And a lot of the new people to the space that ask me about NFTs and stuff, I do steer them here actually, because I
Really?
tell them like, listen, yeah, because a lot of them will tell me like, hey man, I have $500, I want to get into NFTs, and it's like, well, all right, so let's talk over here at Cardano, because you're not going to be able to do much. You could buy one, maybe two low budget Ethereum NFTs, and maybe one of them will go up, the other one probably won't, or whatever. Maybe they both will, maybe they both won't, whatever. But you could
Yeah.
buy like 10 or 15 NFTs on Cardano if they're really low price ones, and some of them are definitely going to go up to what, at least double what you paid for them, and like get you in the mix and get you kind of going.
It's a good place to learn.
Yeah, 100%.
So you play with Cardano and you play with ETH. Do you do any other protocols like Solana or
No, I don't really like Solana because I
Tezos?
don't. No, I don't like Solana because I don't like the fact that there is a CEO, more or less. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like one guy in
Yeah.
charge, and a lot of people would say the same
Anatoly.
thing about what's that?
His name's so I was just saying Anatoly something or other.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like a
and nothing against him or anything like that, but
yeah.
I just don't like that idea. And a lot of people would say, well, isn't Cardano like that? It's like, no, that's Charles is kind of like the face of it, and he's kind of like who you see
Right.
the most, but he can't go in there and make a change and that kind of thing. And to be honest, I don't know that they can go in there and make a change in Solana. I don't think that they can. Kind of like I just said in that example, I don't think they could do that. But I do know that that network has failed a couple of times because there are some
Yeah.
centralized points of failure. So
Oh yeah.
that does
So
not
that does
exist.
concern you.
Hell yeah, that does
Yeah.
not exist on Cardano. It doesn't exist on Ethereum or Bitcoin. Or you can't have centralized points of failure like that. Like that's, and if they could fix that, I probably would be on board a little bit more with them. But I can't. That's not cool. Like no.
Yeah. No, the fact that they've turned it off like 6 times already, and it's
Yeah.
like only there's not a lot of people. Like, let's be honest, like in 10 years, there's gonna be billions of people using this stuff.
Mhm.
And if it's already like you have to turn it down now, turn it off for a while, it's like I just don't have a lot of belief that you can keep it going when you have 10x the people on your network, you know?
Yeah, he even said he expects it to fail again. He's like, yeah, we failed 6 times, and I expect it to
That's
drop
nuts.
down again. It's like,
That's
what?
nuts.
Imagine that was your car. It was like, yeah, man, this thing's
Yeah.
broken down 6 times on me. And the person was like, yeah, it's probably gonna break down again. He's your mechanic, and he hands you the keys. He's like, what the fuck? Give me a different car, dude. I'm not taking this thing back. Do you have any other car?
That's so true.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do like Cardano a lot. And nothing against Ethereum, nothing against Vitalik or anything. I just feel that Charles is very, I don't know, I feel like if I ran into him in a bar, he'd be a cool guy to talk to. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
And I'm not saying
No, I
Vitalik
agree.
wouldn't, but I think it would just be a cool guy to hang out with, to talk to. I genuinely believe him when he talks. And I'm
Yeah.
sure you guys have probably felt it. There is, I don't understand why, but the hatred that exists in the world for Cardano and for Charles Hoskinson.
Yeah.
Everybody acts like Vitalik
Crazy.
is their uncle, and it's like he got in a fight with him, and they have to like defend their family's honor. Like I don't understand. Like
Well,
is
that's
really weird to
honestly,
me.
I did want to ask you about that too, because like I saw that you were like a .eth person on Twitter,
Mm.
and I was like, I wonder what he thinks about that, because I've kind of noticed this in the last couple months. A lot more ETH people are starting to like come over and check it out, and like you're starting to see them play around with it too. So, did you have like any like when people are like, "Hey, check out the Cardano NFTs," where you're like, "Fuck Cardano, like that place, like that's not ETH." Like, did you have that or no? Like, what was your
No,
mentality?
I was one of the early ones. I don't think I don't think any one person told me about them. I think that I just saw somebody else on there, and I was like, yeah, I can go buy those. All right. I don't think
Oh,
I had
cool.
one. Yeah, I right away. Listen, I mean, I'm a capitalist, man, and that's it. If I can get in there early on something, and I think that it's going to have a good long-term growth, I'm in. You know, and
Yeah.
I'll show you my DMs. I probably have 5 to 10 apes that I went hard on. That was like, listen, a couple of them. I was like, listen, just make a Nami wallet. Just make a Nami wallet. Send me your address, and I'll send you an NFT. I'll send you, and I was going to send them all chilled Kongs. Anybody that did that I was going to send them, and none of them did it. Not zero. None of them did it. One of them blocked me.
Damn,
like,
what is it's so crazy, dude.
Like, and they're all like, call me, and they all believe all the BS that you hear about Cardano. Call me when you can transact, more than one transaction a second, or call me when you can do more than one block per, whatever. And it's like, I don't. All right,
like,
guys.
but you never even tried to use it. So how do you know it's so terrible?
It's crazy. I don't get it.
There's no reason for tribalism. It's like we're all just trying to make money, and like if you can do it in a different way, like why wouldn't you try it?
Yep. Meanwhile, so going back to the early days of the computer, what was the first thing you ever did on the computer? Do you remember? Was it America Online chat rooms, right?
What's it?
Right?
Yeah.
Right. All right. Where's AIM? Where's AOL now? It's a fucking joke.
It's gone.
It's a joke. Now, hold on. But it's not gone. It exists, but it's a joke. So who says that Ethereum, the same thing wouldn't happen to Ethereum? And I've made this argument before. People dismiss it, but like it's that exact argument of the AOL and the internet, where it's like AOL was the shit until you plugged in your LAN cable, and then it was like, AOL what? I'm just going to go online and chat with whoever I want, and it's like it would do whatever I want, and go on Kazaa and get download all these viruses and destroy my computer. I should have stayed on AOL, but whatever.
Right. Of course, no. And that's how you got your first CD, and then you got a burner, and then like you're the cool kid at school with your burnt CDs.
Yeah,
passing them out.
Who says that the same thing couldn't happen to Ethereum though, where it's like the top dog, and it's like I would have never thought something could be AOL. If you asked me in 1997, is this going to be around forever? I'd be like, yes. Can I buy stock in this? But it went the way of the dodo. As other things came out, and it's a joke now. Nobody uses it anymore. And efficiency always wins, especially in business, especially when you talk about costs. So you want all these high value companies and people to come in, and then you're going to show them these gas fees, tell them how great crypto is because of this and this, and they show them these gas fees, and they try and transact. It's like, well, you can't do anything with that. That doesn't work.
It's a big
and that's where kind of like XRP comes in, and that's where Cardano comes in. I do think that you're going to see NFTs on XRP take off this year. I think that the second half of 2022, you're going to see those hit big time. And I'm not even necessarily a fan of XRP. Not hating or whatever it is, but it is what it is. I think that they're going to be big because
they have a strong community. Like they've been here for a hot minute, so it's like anything that has a community this long, it's just like you can't like you said, like don't knock it until you try it, right? So it's like it's like it could be a missed opportunity, even if you don't like the projects. Like just sell them then, like, and make your profit and like walk away.
It's so you were saying before about like all the Ethereum people kind of starting to come in. I think that a lot of them, just like myself, are the capitalists, and they're like, oh man, these chilled cogs are going for what? And I could maybe flip them and make what? Or I could buy some land in Pavia, or I could do this, like, and they're like, I'll give it a shot. And then when they see that they could do a transaction for what they were paying before in gas fees, like, why not give it a shot?
Yeah.
So you'll see. You think you'll see more ETH people coming over?
I do.
To Cardano.
It's it's unfortunate there's so much negative BS out there about Cardano and about Charles Hoskinson, and that people relate them as one of the same or whatever it is, because I think that does prevent a lot of people from even like considering it. It's like all the time you see these polls about this and this, and it's like Cardano's not even on the poll, and it's like, what are you people kidding me? Like that's the number 5 crypto. Like what are you talking about? Like come on. And it's weird. So I don't get it, and it's I don't know, but I do think that you'll see more of them come over for sure. It's I don't know what they're ashamed of. Like it's like you can go back and forth. Nobody cares. you know? It's
Yeah.
all
No
anonymous
one's
here.
watching
Nobody
you.
knows. Yeah, it's not the
Yeah, I
same
know.
wallet. Nobody's watching you. It's not like, you know, Tom live and let's see what's happening here. It's like, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's I don't know. I kind of did realize early on, and I still believe this to be true though, is that the whole PFP thing is real deal. That's not going anywhere. That's for real, because the whole you know, life in the metaverse, life online, you know, that's where we're going. Everything's going digital. You know, there's no cash anymore. Everybody gets paid, you know, direct deposit and uses a debit card or whatever it is for everything. You know, very few people earn cash anymore.
Yeah.
It's all digital. And I got to think the whole world is going to go that way too. And you need something to represent you in that world, you know? And so for a while, I think it's going to be your PFP. So whether it be an
That
ape
is
or a claymate or whatever it is, it's like, that's going to be it for a while, you know?
I was thinking about how like you having a Bored Ape as your profile picture, like it gives you like credibility, right? Like people are like, oh, this guy, he must like know what he's talking about. He was able to get a Bored Ape at some point. So like,
Yeah, I definitely think
there's
somewhat.
prestige. There's
yeah,
prestige to it for
it's
sure.
like wearing a Rolex or something, you know? Like, you're
Yeah.
like, ooh, look at that. It's
It
kind of
was funny though. I
interesting.
actually had somebody reach out to me on LinkedIn. It was like, hey, you have time for a quick 10 to 15-minute chat next week. And I think just like a couple of days before, I had changed something on my profile to where it said like NFT consultant or so, you know. So I was like, oh, well, this guy
Nice.
wants to talk, you know. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's have a chat, you know.
Yeah.
So I sit down and he's right away talking to me about a project that he has and he's building out, and it was a sports related project, and how he's looking for funding and looking for various people and blah blah blah. It goes through this whole spiel. Like I didn't really say very much. I kind of just said like hello,
Yeah.
and then he went through his whole spiel. And then at the end, he's like, "So the typical investment is between $4 and $6 million." And I'm like, "Oh, all right." So I'm like, just so we're clear here, like, do you think that I have $4 to $6 million? And he's like, well, maybe not liquid, but you could sell some of your assets and liquidate some of your shares. And I'm like, listen, man, like I got my ape. Is this because of my ape? Like I got my ape early. And he's like, oh yeah. But he went on to tell me that he targets people that have apes and CryptoPunks, and he sets up meetings with them because he
Wow.
uses that as a basis for somebody walks in with a Rolex. That's the guy you want to talk to for business advice, rather than the guy who's got a Casio on. You know, it's just the way it is. So I had to make it kind of clear to the guy, like, yeah, I mean, you're really barking up the wrong tree here. Like, this is no. Good luck with your project, sir, but I'm going to save you the time here. We're all good.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Twitter going forward. If Elon Musk buying it goes through or not. I kind of hope it does. I'm a big free speech guy. I kind of want that people should be able to do what they want. That's kind of the way of the world. You don't like them, just mute them or block them or whatever. You know, that's kind of it.
Yeah.
But he doesn't.
Why is
seem
that
to
so
be
hard? Why is that so hard? I never understood that.
Yeah,
People just would
get it.
rather get pissed off at somebody and like go do something constructive. Like
We want the world
who
to
cares?
change to block this person. Like I don't want, like they don't want as an individual to just ignore them. Like doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I really don't. Yeah, hopefully he buys it. It kind of goes through, and then people, you know, people have a little bit more opportunity to kind of just be open about things. But he's kind of made it clear he's not a fan of the NFC PFP thing. He's like, this is stupid and annoying, I think he said. And it's like, oh, wait, no, hang on. I just got my hex, man. Give me a couple weeks with it, at least.
Dude, that's what I don't understand too. It's like we got some hate in one of our subreddits, and they were like, the tokens are fine, but for some reason NFTs get people so pissed off. I don't understand it, because it's like just like one more step over. It's like you believe in Bitcoin, but you don't believe in NFTs. It's just like I don't understand where, like, it's weird.
Like I don't like
No,
that part of the tech for some reason.
No, it's hard to understand. It's weird. But it's not going anywhere. So sorry. You know, it's
Yeah.
kind of, it is what it is. You know, it's here to stay. You know, that's kind of it. It's kind of silly now in the form that it's in a lot of ways, but I think as as time goes on, people are going to realize that they can have a lot more to do with it and can do a lot more with it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thanks for coming on, man. I know you got some work to do soon, so
Hell yeah. Yeah, I work there's
wow.
a job on the weekends bartending, so I got to go and get behind the
Nice.
stick for a few hours.
You drink on the
There
job?
you go.
A little bit here and there, but I worked. I've been bartending for like 20 years or so, and the first like 15 or so were an Irish bar that there was
Yeah.
zero drinking allowed behind the bar. You were not allowed to drink while you worked. So I'm not used to drinking behind the bar. So even now when I work, I got, once in a while I have like a glass of wine maybe or something, but not really. It's
Yeah.
You're more of people's therapist. That's what
Yeah.
your job is.
yeah. It's it is interesting though. There have been a couple times when I was at work and I was like, fuck, I missed that mint. Like, I missed like a sale.
Oh,
or something,
yeah,
a sale,
100%.
and it's like, what do I do? And it's like, I can't like not, I gotta keep going and keep doing things, but also like, damn it. So I just started bringing my laptop to work and I have it like stashed
That's
behind
what
the
I
bar.
do. That's what
Yeah.
I do, dude.
It's
I'm
like
a truck driver. I drive a truck, so I'm just like, I'll have to like park over somewhere and be like, hold on, set up my hotspot so I can mint this project out, but
yeah, that's the
it's
way to
getting
do it
bad,
sometimes, man.
yeah, I can't help it, it's like I got to get that mint, before it
Yeah.
gets sold out.
Yeah, it's definitely keep minting things. I mean, one thing is that I'll definitely keep looking out for any new projects to come out. Things that seem to like have good positive life to them. You know what I mean? Like anything,
Yeah,
for whatever reason, things that are like skull related or like death related or whatever, like dark, don't seem to do well long term. They seem
they
to kind of
don't
come out.
do well. I could vouch for that. I have a
Yeah,
skull
that's
in
a
the
good
back. It's
point.
not doing too hot. But you are correct on that.
For whatever reason, even if it's nice artwork, I bought a couple of things
Yeah,
that were beautiful artwork, detailed, beautiful, awful. And I've
that's
seen
a really good point.
Yeah, I think the
I didn't
crypto
even think
skulls, the
about
ones I
that.
mentioned earlier, the only reason they did well is because Gary Vaynerchuk tweeted them out, like because they were like a very old school project, so like only the second 10,000K NFT project ever, apparently, allegedly, I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's why they shot up. But for the most part, skull stuff or dark stuff, I don't know. It doesn't seem to do well. Like anything that's cool, it has like life to it. Party stuff seems to kind of like go well,
Can
Yeah,
you leave
so
us with one project that you're looking forward to? Like that you think that's like this is one to get in on that you're like excited about?
Let me check out real quick and see what's going on. 1 second, let me just refresh this bad boy. So I am famous for, and actually made the joke the other day on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter if you can, Bud at Bud_Eth. Is I will look at a project and not buy it, and that's definitely the one that you really want to jump into. Because for whatever reason, the ones that I don't buy,
Contrarian.
yeah, I don't know what the hell happens, man. It just always goes that way. As far as new stuff that kind of just came out of Cardano, nothing really kind of jumps out at me too much. I was looking at the Mad Dog Car Club the other day. I didn't do anything with it. What has it been doing? It's kind of just going sideways for a while, which isn't a bad thing. I definitely have realized that stuff that trades sideways for a while, especially when you see some bigger sales go through, like you see a couple like $1,200 ADA sales that went through.
Yeah.
A couple hours ago. That usually is a pretty good indicator that like, all right, even if the project doesn't like take off, like it's got some legs to it where it's going to trade sideways for a while. And it might not be a bad place to kind of like park your ADA, so to speak, because it could, it could potentially do something.
Oh,
so
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's obviously there's a risk to it, but
right.
Yeah, it's the dog or the animal, not dog specifically, but the animal profile pictures, they're going away. I've had enough of the ape stuff. I'll tell you right now, as an ape, I'm good with the apes. Like we've had enough, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything animal related and it's kind of like on a positive, good note, I think that's usually a pretty good thing to kind of check out. I do think that the pixelated
price
stuff
scare you? Sorry, does the price scare you? Like, will you jump in on a project that's already expensive, or does that like you're like, I'll wait till it drops, or like do you have to look at other metrics to be like, all right, this has some staying power to it. I'll jump in.
It's so hard, The one thing I'll try to look at big time is wallet count, as far as how many people are holder count, as far as how many people are holding the NFTs versus, and it's tricky too because you got people that are kind of jumping in and out of it for a flip, trying to make a few bucks. So it's kind of like it's going up, but then it goes sideways, and it goes up, and then it goes sideways. I'll definitely try to keep an eye on that. I'll keep an eye on the activity of something where it's moving. It's like if I see a lot of activity and the price is still kind of running up, like I'd like to jump into it, but sometimes I'm deterred because it's it's on a run, so that's not when you want to jump into something sometimes. But if the project just debuted, it's only a couple of days old, and now it's on a run, like maybe I'll jump into it. Usually, if something is within the first week or so of it being minted or coming out, I'll still be interested in it. Yeah, for the most part.
Okay.
Did you ever buy Space Buds?
You know what? Space Buds is one of the ones I missed out. on, man. It's I do regret not buying one because I wish I would have, but I did. Instead, I actually bought probably like 8 or 10 or 12 of the Hoskinsons, like the Simpsons knockoff ones. Yeah. Which I was like, these things are great. Like they're gonna totally take off, and like they totally didn't. So probably should have bought some Space Buds, but that's all good. Yeah, so I'll definitely keep. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's really that's the biggest thing with them. It's obviously they're all chances. We could wake up tomorrow and people could realize what's going on here. Like, what are we doing here? Monkey picks?
Yeah.
But in the meantime, definitely take chances. Buy 2 or 3 or something. Flip one when you get back to like doubling your price so that you're even with house money, and then just go from there. Because then you could have that money to do something else with, and then in a couple of weeks you have
very true.
5, 10, 20 NFTs, and you have the same amount of 80 you had before. It's like, all right, now you got a good shot.
Yeah.
So it is hard though. I will say I have a full-time gig. I have 2 brick and mortar stores that I run my own business. That I have about 10 employees. I bartend on the weekends as well, and trying to do this essentially full time. It's exhausting just doing this full time. Like forget about the other things. Just this alone, I miss things all the time that I get so pissed off about. Only because there's so many communities and so much news you have to keep up with. It's a full time job. So as you get into it more and more, and you have 8 or 9 or 10 or 50 projects that you're invested in, it's like good luck keeping up on all that shit, man. You better be like, you better have somebody. I mean, you guys got together, to work with each other. I try and have my wife help me out, but it's not too well.
Yeah.
So, all right, boys. Thanks a lot for having me on. I do appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Is there anything you want to plug or anything?
Yeah. No, check me out on Twitter at Bud_Eth, and that's it, man.
All right, man. Thanks for joining us. Have a good rest of your day.
Sometime if you'd ever want to. So
yeah, hit me up whenever, guys, for sure.
Yeah. All right. That was Tom. Bud.Eth on Chilled Cardano. Thanks for joining, everybody.
Have a good weekend, everybody.